Hello everyone, this is Paras and we are doing this video series to bring an awareness around community management. The mission is to make our ecosystem know about the impact of community and how it can bring big change to their businesses. So let's start. Today we have Akash Prakash, community head at UpGrad, and he will take us to his journey of being a community person and the impact it has created. So Akash, hey, welcome to the show. Today I'm gonna ask you about how you started, what happened, and how your work has actually helped upgrade. You have been here from past 1 year, so you have seen the change. Your community efforts had brought to this place, and probably the team is too big now, so probably you're doing too great. And some more about how it actually helped, plus what is the ROI around it, what are the tools, all those things, basically complete community guy is using and what is happening in his life. So let's start with first thing. I want to know, what is the definition of a community for you?
Well, Paras, for me, a community would be a group of people striving to solve the same problem and moving towards a similar solution.
Right.
Right. It's quite general, but I think there is no other way for me to put what a community is.
Right. So everybody is having their own definitions, but yeah, that makes sense. Okay. So were you a community manager? You had this thought in the starting that I'll be a community manager,
Not at all, actually.
like a child thing, I'm going to be an astronaut. So is it like that?
Never.
Were you aware about that this is a profession also?
Well, actually,
because I was never.
I became a community manager by accident.
Yes.
Right.
Okay. That's what
I started off. I'm a civil engineer by what I've been trained as.
Yeah.
And in my first year, I was hired as a project manager by Manipal Health.
Okay.
And I traveled around, and at one of those locations, they had a small requirement of a business development manager. Right. At that point, my manager and the seniors there thought, okay, I had great communication skills, and then they asked me, okay, do you think you can close this deal? And I went ahead and I closed one of the deals for them. So for some time, my reporting managers wanted me to just do business development, right?
Okay.
And then I was sent back to HQ to get trained in project management, and that's where I left the company. And at that point, I realized that there is a lot of value in trying to communicate, right, value to others, and sort of create value for the person that you're selling to, as well as for the company that you're coming from, right? I thought, marketing would be a great field for me to join. So immediately after my role at Manipal, I joined this company called Octane.
Okay.
Right? It was a marketing agency that specialized in email.
Yes,
right?
I know.
And when I went in, I had no expectations, right? But while I was working there, I can just see the amount of dependence that a lot of huge big companies, known brands have, with using email and SMS, right? It's a big part of banking. It's a big part of shopping, right? And how did this really come into play, right? At that point, I learned a little bit of marketing strategy, and I would only use what I learned in email, right? And about 8 months in Octane, I decided, I should take a pause right now. I have some money in the bank.
Okay.
Let me stop and learn a little bit more,
Yeah.
right? And at that point, I knew that digital marketing was trending, and it's still trending, right? And I was looking to upskill myself in digital marketing. And I was looking forward. I found people like Digital Vidya, Simply Learn, and I found UpGrad, right? And Ronnie Screwvala was one of my childhood heroes.
Okay.
And so I saw that hey, there is this event happening in Koramangala, and I was like, okay, let me go and attend it. I attended it, and he was speaking as founder of UpGrad.
Okay.
And I was instantly sold, and I took up a program with UpGrad, right?
Okay.
And I was a student at UpGrad first in the digital marketing program, and then I saw that I met this person called Mukul, right? My ex-boss, and he was struggling with events, and he was supposed to create a community,
Okay.
right? And neither did UpGrad nor Mukul at that point knew how this was done, and neither did I, right? Since I had some event experience, I told Mukul, hey, let me come and help you out, right?
Okay.
Right now I'm free and I'm learning, I'm a student, so let me come and help you out. And I started helping him out, and together we started scaling, right? And at that point we were doing 2 events a month, and then we scaled it to 6, and now we're doing 12, right?
Awesome.
Right? And so that's how I came on board. He got me on board as a community manager,
Okay.
and that's where the
Okay.
whole journey started.
So
Yeah.
community management, right? So it's more into people, conversations, relationship, knowing, talking, emails, chats, all the time. So I just want to know, you were an introvert or an extrovert?
Well, I have always been an extrovert.
Okay.
But I think right now I'm going towards the introvert side.
Okay, I think probably a lot of conversation happened then
Exactly.
Okay.
You have to talk a lot in one burst, and then suddenly you don't want to talk to anyone.
Okay.
So that's what happens.
Yeah, that's true. So fine. Let's know
But I
about
think one of the things that you're trying to ask over there is that you should be comfortable with talking to others.
Yeah.
Right? That's extremely important if you talk about a community manager,
Uh-huh.
because your role is nothing without getting others on board.
That's true.
Right?
That's true.
So for introverts, this is not a role for you. Right? I think you really need to be a really big extrovert if you have to take up community management.
Okay.
Right? So,
Okay. Yeah. So that's one point. That's one point we should take. You have to be talkative. You have to create
Yes.
conversations, and you have to be a good listener as well.
You have to be entertaining as well.
Yeah. Means humor is also +1 into it. So keep that in mind. Okay, Akash. So about UpGrad. You came here. What were your expectations when they called you up? They called you up for the events part. Okay.
Yes, in the beginning,
Yeah.
even they only, at that point, our understanding of a community was to do a lot of events.
Okay.
Right? They were building, and they also realized that they were building the community.
Right.
So events was the first step in doing that
Right.
for UpGrad and for me.
Right.
But now it has evolved into a more complex and something that I can take you through as we move forward. But it's a lot more than events right now.
Okay.
Right? We have already started tapping into it. We have seen returns in multiple forms, right? And it's positively impacting our products, our students, and everyone who's engaged with UpGrad, right? So
Right.
it's one of the biggest. People are proud that UpGrad Xchange, the community bit of UpGrad, people are proud to be a part of it, and the stakeholders at UpGrad are really happy that they have created something like this.
Okay. Yeah. So early events, you said you were doing just 2 events a month.
Yeah.
Right, and then
Yeah.
you scaled it to 12.
Yeah.
So it was because of the need of the community, or you felt the success behind, events were getting too successful, or what was it?
There are multiple things over there, right? I will just give you an idea of why, right? And that would give you a better context,
Yeah.
right? First of all, UpGrad is in the professional education space. Okay, we when our founders started, they realized that there are these domains that are growing really fast, and the industry really needs it. But the current education system does not really have an offering to those people who want to get into these domains, right? And that's number one. Secondly, we did not want people to stop going to work, because we thought that, you and I would agree, we learn a lot more on the job, right?
True.
So we wanted to sort of supplement that, and we wanted to create, very influential and very experiential, right? We wanted them to learn while they were working and immediately apply as they move forward. So we created online courses in domains like digital marketing, product management, data science, and our data vertical is quite broad. We have machine learning and AI. So it became important for our team that we need to create an interest. We need to motivate the general audience about what these domains are, right? I mean, there should be some inspirations. Let's say you're hearing machine learning everywhere. You're seeing advanced level conversations happening online, but you really don't know, how can I start, right? And suddenly I would organize something in machine learning with an expert who's already there, and I would tell you, hey, why don't you come and attend this 2-hour workshop and learn a little bit more about machine learning and see how you can go from where you are right now and into a proper machine learning role, and what is the reality on both sides.
Plus
right?
meet people of the similar mind.
Exactly, and so we needed to create that, create that offering, which we never charged them, right? We wanted to bring the expert and tell him that, hey, sir, there is a big chunk of people out there who want to get into your domain, right? I want you to play the role of an influencer and speak to these people and tell them how they can come in, right? And these people are going to be working already, and they should know what this domain is all about.
True.
Right? So that was a core idea, right? In the beginning, I was also trying to understand why are we doing this, right? And as we move forward, at that point, UpGrad had 4 programs. Now we have 8, and more are coming down, right? So every program, we want to sort of market it, we want to brand it, we want to evangelize, and that's what we do through our community, right? And so yeah, that's about it.
Okay,
so
you feel there was like the success of the UpGrad which is coming up.
Yeah.
Like community was playing a very important part.
Yeah, a very important role, because most of the young working professionals who are our target audience are from Bangalore, right? We have a huge amount of educated migrants coming down. This is a tech hub, this is a startup hub, this is a data analytics hub, right? And we have most of our relevant audience over here, right? So even our students wanted to be a part of this, right? This is an added an added incentive for them, because they sign up with UpGrad and they can regularly interact with experts in the field of their choice, right? That is one advantage to students, and one advantage to the general public is that, hey, I'm not paying anything, but I get to interact and network with the best, right?
Actually, and I guess that is the USP of UpGrad also, probably a community part, like the program which you have, others have also started its at TAC, right?
Yeah.
So many programs are already running for data science, product management, but I guess the difference which you're creating is through...
Yeah, only we have this.
Yeah, this
right?
is the scene.
We are the only one who does this at scale.
Yeah, and I guess that's what that's what gives people the relationship thing, like they are real, because they can meet people in real. Otherwise, other online courses are just online.
Exactly.
You can't see people.
So what happens is, let's say you want to get into machine learning, right? 3 months ago, you attended a machine learning event.
Yeah.
You met me. You met some of our students. You met the UpGrad team, right? At that point, you realize that, okay, machine learning is hot, and there is a way for me to enter. And then you attended a couple more events, and 3 months down the line, you're like, okay, you know what? I'm ready to take the step into getting into machine learning actively, where I can get certified by a well-known university, and I have an experiential learning, with a well-known education company, which is UpGrad. Right? And we provide that transition. We provide a smooth road, and it's even though it's an online program, we provide a big offline effect, and it's really helped. We have a lot of students who are converting from these communities, and that's one way that we make a positive ROI.
Actually, yeah. Absolutely, it's a different approach of selling a product, right?
Exactly.
Like you're not directly telling them to take the product, but you creating the value through it.
Exactly.
That's true. So offline community we already talked about. So there is an online community as well.
So we see, creating a community at scale is a very hard job.
Actually,
right? It is a lot harder than what people think. And I salute all the community managers out there, because I know when I started, I did not know what I was doing. I really had to learn, by trial and error, right? And it was not easy, right?
And I guess there is nothing happening for us.
Yeah, exactly. There is a big online component to it, right? But a community online is essentially translates to a community offline, right? So let's say, I would say if I have 100 people online, when I plan something offline, at one point of time 20 will come.
Yeah, 10 to 15-20%.
Exactly. That's the thing. So unless and until we see, whenever you're creating something, you have to be focused on both, because you're communicating online and you're actually giving value offline.
Yeah, so they both are the pillars of a strong community, right?
Yeah.
So like if you have offline, you have to keep on connecting, engaging them through online.
Exactly.
And then in real meetups will
exactly. And like I said, a person who's interested in machine learning will discover this online, will sort of attend the first event offline, then again hear about the next event online, and it goes on like that. It's a mix. You can't differentiate the two.
Right. Okay, so like you told me about the whole scene, what happens here. So the ROI, some specific matrices you're using. Like one thing you told me that the number of admissions started, like those who came to the meetup, they took up the course.
Yeah.
So that is one way to.
You can say, okay, my number one metric would be how many people I've impacted. Okay, for any idea that I promote, how many people are talking about it, right? Number two would be, out of the number of people who spoke about it, number of people who showed interest towards it, how many people actually came for the real event, right? That's number two. Next thing would be, so you have a couple of different communities here. Let's say I'm focusing on the product domain, I'm focusing on the data domain. So individual domain strength and individual domain engagement, that would be a metric, right? Second thing, I'm getting an expert to talk at all these places. So that expert community alone is another metric. You want to have as many experts as possible, because these people are going to mentor you down the road, right? Yeah. So that is another metric.
Community. Yeah. Okay.
Right? And now, then let's say there will be a lot of people who will be moving out of Bangalore who do not want to be part of this anymore. So there is a small amount of attrition, right? Similarly, there will be a lot of people who's adding on to your community every month. So you got to make sure that the number of people coming in is a lot greater than the number of people going out. That's a metric, right? And how many times is a single person engaging with you, right? That shows to the quality of the kind of events that you're doing. So that's another metric. How much money are you spending? How much amount of monetary impact are you creating? How much profit are you in? How happy is your team, right? How happy is your community? How active are they online, right? How frequently do they engage with your online posts? So if you talk about metrics, we can, as long as you have digital and Google Sheets, you can measure anything, right?
Right.
So yeah, I would say a lot of metrics, but the most important would be how many are engaging online, how many are turning up. That's the most important.
Right. So your some specific tool for your daily. So okay, firstly, tell me about your day. Like, how does it look like?
Okay, so like I told you, like my role has really become, it has evolved down the time, right? Let's say first half of 2016, I was mostly focused on doing events in the domains that UpGrad was present in, right? So I would manage the stakeholders, the experts in individual domains, and I would try and set up the entire month, right? And that itself is a tedious process, right? And then there is a lot of marketing that goes before the event, and there's a lot of setting up that goes during the event. You essentially do the events on weekends where your audience have leaves, right, on their week off holidays.
Absolutely, yeah.
And all the planning goes all the 5 days, and you're always planning 10 days ahead. If you have an event next weekend, you should be planning it like 10 days back, at least, minimum. And then it's always good to have digital marketing and marketing experience while you do these events, because since I was a student of UpGrad, I really picked it up, right? And now, right now, my role is a lot more complex. I have a supporting team that helps me, and so that we can achieve these numbers at scale. We realize that it's not possible to do more than 12 events. Rather than doing more events, we want to make sure that each event has a very large impact, right? Right now we are at a position that people come to us that, hey, I want to be a part of UpGrad Xchange, and I want to talk about this. And then we will tell them, hey, our audience are looking to get into these domains, right? You have to motivate them. It has to be introductory level. You got to engage with them. Do you have an engaging presentation, right? And then we have multiple checklists, and then we have a quality criteria for marketing them. Then we market them, and then the event happens, and then after the event there's a little bit of communication. Before the event there's a little bit of communication, and it goes around. So one of the biggest things about being a community manager is that you have to be a collaborator as well, right? You can't do everything by yourself.
Right.
You really need to work with the brand team. You have to work with the marketing team. For me, I have to work with my program teams, and you really find different roles that people can do, add value to the kind of programs that we deliver at UpGrad. So I mean, it's quite complex right now. Even I don't know what is the trajectory that it's taking, but it's definitely positive.
Okay, that's great. Okay, so we know about the UpGrad community, the events they have done, the impact it has created, and they are growing through it. I guess that makes sense, and that makes sense, like why they have invested so much in community. So probably let me ask you some questions from your side. Like you said, you were an extrovert, now you're getting into introvert, and probably a lot of conversation, a lot of things happen. So is it because of the burnout? You feel the burnout?
Well, definitely there is a burn effect, right? So you really need to take a break and not look at the computer for a day.
Yeah.
Sure, because any event that you do, you have like 300 people talking to you.
Actually.
Right, and it's just very hard, and you can't disrespect them. You really want to listen to them, and
all different conversation, different threads.
Exactly, and you really need to learn how to delegate. If you're a community manager, and if your stakeholders are serious about building a community, they should understand that you need to be a leader and you need to have a supporting team. That's one way that you can continue to do it. If you're doing it all by yourself, you cannot do it at scale.
Yeah,
it's impossible.
Right. So your way of cutting out the burnout is to take a leave. Like, what do you do?
So we work 7 days, right?
Yeah.
And so we have been forced to take one off day midweek.
Okay.
Wednesday is an off day for us.
Okay.
And the entire exchange team, we do not work, we do not talk to each other on Wednesdays.
That's great.
We give each other space, and then we meet up again on Thursdays.
Okay.
And I think delegating effectively really helps because the person who's supposed to do a certain thing gets better at doing that the more times he does it, right? So you essentially want to delegate these things well. You want to make sure that this person is trained to do that well, because there are lots of moving parts while building a community, and you need to have some space in your mind to think when something's not moving in the direction that you want, right? Then you need that space. Okay, how can I change the trajectory? If it's going down, what can I do right now to push it back up? And especially when you're doing it at scale, like if you're doing a 2,000 people event or a 1,000 people event, then you're playing a whole different ballgame.
Actually.
Right? Yeah. And then the press gets involved. It's just it's interesting. It's fun. Yeah. But you can't do it every day.
That's true. Yeah. So something specific you read, for the personal side and for the career side, in both the domain, anything you want to tell?
Well, one thing that I really saw improve in myself was how I used to communicate to these people online, right? Because as a community manager, you are a beacon, for everybody that you're interacting with. They are listening to you seriously. So when you really set the context right with these people, in order to set the context right, you have to understand what they're thinking. Right. So I read a lot. First of all, I try to read on whatever is upcoming in these domains that we're present in: data science, product management, digital marketing. And then I also try and read what a typical 25 to 35-year-old is going through at certain stages of life. Okay. Right? If it's Christmas, the thought process is different. If it's a new year, the thought process is different. If someone's really looking to get a upskill in his career, the thought process is different, right? So I try and read a lot of blogs in this domain, and we try and focus on how to be more efficient, and email marketing, Facebook marketing, other marketing, creating mini communities. Right? Yeah. How to extract the maximum value out of an expert by making sure that he also gets value. how to amplify every event that you do, right? We are soon going to be making sure that whatever we do is available both offline and online, live, right? So I mean, all these things. So yeah, that's about it. I read a lot of community posts, a lot of leadership, a lot of marketing, and a lot of these domains.
Okay, great. So now I'll just ask, we'll play a game called One Thing.
Okay.
So I'll ask you one thing or one experience or one something from all the different domains. So first one will be we are building communities, right?
Yeah.
We helping people
Yes.
in real and creating impact in their lives. So probably there must be an incident when when a member from somewhere must have came to you and told you something good, any experience, any overwhelming experience from a community member, something you want to tell.
Well, I mean, I've in fact,
Any emotional moment probably.
well, sometimes see community building, right? Sometimes it's thankless.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, no one really understands the pain that you
true.
go through, right?
That's true.
And when someone comes and tell you, hey, you guys are doing a great job. An expert tells you, we don't have any machine learning scientists in India, right?
Yeah.
All of them are going to the US or Israel, and you're doing a great job. We need more people,
Yeah,
right?
and
Because
that's
I'm sick
pat
and
on the
tired.
back, yeah.
Exactly. I'm like, yeah. I mean, that's a completely new way to look at it,
Right.
Great. So next time I write to my people, I'm like, hey, we need more data scientists today, right?
And that's a pump, right?
Yeah, so that's one thing, and then there are people who are very young, still in their third year. These people are very smart, and they are attracted to these new terms, and they tell me, hey, you know what? Thank you so much for making this free because I can't afford it, and I really want to get into this, right?
Yeah.
And when someone tells me like that, I'm like, yeah, great. Hey, you are really working hard to come from a very, very far away place in this traffic to come here, so I better make it worth it.
That's true. That's true.
So yeah, these things really give us that extra edge to do better than what we did yesterday.
And I guess in the end we get to have a good sleep also,
Exactly.
helping someone is such a
Exactly.
such a feeling,
Yeah.
right? That's great, Akash. Okay, so it's a good experience I asked about. Now one thing horrible happened, probably a bad comment, bad reaction, or something really got messed up.
Well, just
How did you tackle that? Or what happened?
So so our events are free, right? So because of which we always try and predict how many people will come, and we try and cap it somehow. So last week we had a machine learning event, and the number of people who came, we didn't have that many chairs, right? And it was full. I couldn't move around, and everyone was uncomfortable. And on top of that, because there were so many people, no one could hear the speaker.
Oh
and,
my God.
and at that point of time, you're just wondering, oh my God, how do I fix it? Right?
That's really bad. How many people
Like I was expecting 60 max.
Okay.
And I counted 85 and I couldn't count anymore.
Oh damn.
And there were people coming and coming and coming. I'm like, please, guys, I'm really sorry you're late. I don't have a seat for you. And they're like, no problem, we'll figure. And it was quite embarrassing, and I felt bad. So I've told this to my board, and we are moving to a new office, and we will have a lot more space.
Wow.
So
that's a real good thing.
Yeah.
So you need to be a thick skin being a community guy.
Exactly. And
you have to take all the bashes, everybody is saying. It could be
and
good
your
and
team
bad.
as well, even it's a tough job for them as well. Every part of building community is hard. It's not easy, and it is changing.
It's not easy.
It's not easy, and the reality is always changing. It's never like, okay, if I do this will happen. You never know. Tomorrow it won't work anymore.
Yeah.
You gotta figure something else out. You gotta be able to do a lot of jugaad.
Hustler, jugaad.
Right? You have to make it happen. That's it.
Yeah.
And
That's true. That's so true. Okay, so probably one gyan for the CM, right? Anybody who's there probably who wants to get into it. So any one thing from your.
Well, if it's something for an upcoming community manager, I would say having a marketing background really helps you.
Okay.
And because you understand the inner workings of building a community if you have a marketing background, a digital marketing background. And you have to be an effective communicator, that's it. You really need to know how to communicate with your community. you got to know how to communicate with the stakeholders who are funding you to build that community. Because if both of them are not happy, it's not going to happen.
Actually.
And yeah, that's about it.
It's a big problem.
Marketing background and good communication.
Good communication,
Yeah.
right? Though I have seen these kind of JDs, like looking for a community manager with a 0 to 1 year experience. And if you check about the JD, they'll talk about you should know marketing, sales, content writing, content editing, PR. Probably if you know tech, that is also fine. You can take up the stage also. You could be an anchor, and probably you wipe the floor as well. so they look for everything, I guess. Yeah. So yeah.
Look, they're saying I need a really smart person.
Yeah.
And I can't pay you so much.
Yes, that's the thing.
That's what they say.
Yeah. So okay, one specific characteristic of this guy, like of the CM, like something one thing which you feel like it should be there in that guy.
Well, he should be a collaborator.
Okay.
Right. While you're building something, as it gets bigger, there will be a lot of people that you need to work with at different, and you will be that person who's getting this from everybody and making the puzzle fit.
Yeah.
And you can only do that. I mean, in the beginning,
final point.
if you're a good collaborator, you are in good terms with everybody, and they all want to help you. Similarly, they will ask for help, and you better be ready to help them.
Absolutely.
Right. And you really need to work well with others and with other verticals, and if you should be a collaborator. That's the only way you will grow, because I'm sure the founders of your company are not going to give you a big team. Okay, for individual stuff, right? You have to manage.
Yeah.
So you really need other people to work for you without them, thinking that it's a pain.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, that's so true. And I guess whenever somebody asks like what do you do, they feel like a community guy is always up on Facebook. He must be there on Twitter. Every social media channel will be there. He must be texting and all. So that's so true. Yeah. So Akash, my final question about the impact of community, like is it really important, like do you feel is it really important for a brand to invest in a community or should have a community manager? What impact it can create by adding a community angle into their business? Like what do you feel?
So I think it is extremely important, right? Because I'll give you a situation in the US, right? The entire Apple ecosystem, right? The developers, right? The backend, the design, they all have their own communities, and that's one way they stay at the forefront, because Apple itself is an ecosystem, right? You have the apps that are coming out, you have the technologies that are being used, and if you look at their conference every year, you can see it's always full, right? Similarly with Google, right? And see, if you're a great designer, then you better know all the best designers out there.
Actually.
And you want to learn what everyone's doing, right? And if you're a developer, it's the same thing. If you play football, you want to play. So I'm just trying to say, if there are no communities, you're not really learning anything, right? And the same way goes towards the giving side. Whoever is building communities, they have to understand that, hey, you are here for the greater good. The more you do this, the more the people, they will see you as sort of evangelizing this, right? You will have a special place in their head, and they will always prefer you, while if they choose to make a decision in that space. So the US is doing this very well, and I think in India we are very frugal. I understand that it does take a little bit of expense, but it's really, really worth it. Building a community is the best form of marketing that you can do, because once you get people on board, it just multiplies. With more people, they call 1 plus, 2 plus, and it just multiplies like that. And it's very important. Whatever you do, you should either create one on your own or be a part of a community. So
perfect. Okay, so
I hope I answered all your questions.
Yeah, definitely. And I guess it was interesting enough, like to know few things, and it was like really helpful for me as well to learn more about what happens at UpGrad and how you have tackled all those things. So that's great. Thank you Akash, thank you for being here, and keep on going, keep on building.
Thank you so much, bro.
Thanks, man.